Today is the third day of our workshop series, Alhamdulillah. My name is Shakira and I will be moderating the session for this morning. Basically, we are having two sessions, morning and afternoon session. For morning session today, we are honored to have Assistant Professor Dr. Mohammad Aslam Akbar. He is an Assistant Professor in Sharia Sciences and Heritage at the Department of Economics, Kulliyyah of Economics and Management Sciences, International Islamic University, Malaysia. He teaches undergraduate courses in Islamic commercial jurisprudence and Islamic economics and conducts research on the classical works of Muslim scholarship in economic thought and Maqasid Sharia-based development. Before joining the department, Dr. Aslam has trained hundreds of postgraduate students in multiple seminars on how to avoid plagiarism in academic writing, Turnitin web-based plagiarism software, thesis writing with Mendeley software. And I also managed to attend one of Dr. Aslam's session earlier about formatting our thesis. Okay, and today we are honored to have him today because he will be talking about Turnitin, preventing plagiarism in academic writing. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Mohammad Aslam Akbar for his sharing. Please welcome Dr. Aslam.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. So can I just share my screen?
Sure, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. All praise to Allah and salutations and peace be upon Rasulullah and his family and his companions, and peace be upon all of us, ibadallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Sister Shakira Hanim, for introducing me, our upcoming doctor in finance. And also I would love to welcome all of you, including Dr. Rafia and Brother Mahbub, Muhib, and all of us. So today what we are going to do? Today, this is not something related to your qualitative or quantitative research that what you learned so far. So this is something that to help you along with your writing. So if you are actually writing something, or you want to write something, or you already finished writing, I guess you are in the right session for you. I think you're gonna need this before you submit your papers, your thesis, your journals, your articles, your conference papers, whatsoever. I think you might need to look again the quality of writing. So in a way, we're gonna talk about the ethics of writing. So because we are all facing this issue, what people call most of the time plagiarism, I would tell myself that it could be called similarity. The reason why I'm saying similarity, because I don't think that any one of us, I mean among us, anyone who really wants to do plagiarism, that is the most important point that I want to keep throughout this session. We didn't want to plagiarize. It's like, you know, we want to steal something. It's like we want to illegally do some action. It's like, you know, we want to not obey the law. nobody wants to do that. Nobody actually really want to, do that kind of sort of illegal things. So which means that it is not plagiarism that we really want to do that. But what happens most of the time that we we come up with this similarity issue. What do I mean by the similarity is actually when we want to write something, when we want to bring some argument, the same or similar argument already exists in some other papers. Most of the time when we do the literature review, I think this is what we have. Definitely what you are doing, it's not something totally new. Of course your idea is there, but the total writing cannot be new unless you are Ghazali. You want to write something from the scratch and nobody has written before, right? So that's impossible, almost impossible. So what you are doing currently, you are actually nicely, you are adding up, you are compiling things, you are started putting things together, and then you are gathering the information and data, and you are, slowly want to build your argument, of course, with the support of others. So now when I say others, this is where actually the similarity comes. Yeah. So when I have to quote from someone, when I have to, refer to somebody's work, when even I have to acknowledge someone that who has done this thing in this particular subject, in this particular area, then I need to acknowledge, I need to, this is where actually I have this problem, what I call similarity. So now, is it similarity is wrong? Is it similarity wrong? Definitely, similarity is not wrong. As I told you, we are in academic writing, we actually cannot create knowledge. We cannot, come up with our own idea. For example, I was sleeping and then suddenly I woke up in the morning and then I got some ilham. Wahi, yeah, wahi cannot be come, of course, it stopped at the Prophet. So maybe I had some ilham, ilmu ladunni, and then I started writing. So everything comes from me. So that's not actually the academic writing. So if you want to write your whole experience, your own experience, for example, that is actually going to be different writing. But when it comes to academic writing, you have to have a base of what you are writing. Without base, you cannot build your argument. This is where actually when we talk about the statement problem, we actually come up with the real problem people already talked about, right? And then we want to build our argument on top of it. So you understood now that it is impossible for anyone to write from the scratch. So you have to read others, you have to read other people's work, books, writings, journals, articles, everything. Then you need to know how to build your argument on top of that. Then you need to, you need to prove that you can advance your argument in particular way. Then it will become your contribution on top of that. This is where actually comes the chapter before the conclusion, whether it is a findings or analysis or discussion. This is where actually you come up with your own contribution of your study. This is where actually you will be awarded, whether it is a master's degree or a PhD degree, or if you submit any journals or articles, then you will be awarded too. So basically speaking, similarity is not wrong. Similarity, it is not something illegal. But what is illegal is actually, it comes under the way how you utilize that similarities. How do you cite those similarities? How do you bring those similarities? So now when you bring those similarities and then you properly acknowledge, you properly, cite, then it is going to be, proper writing. But when you bring that similarity and you intentionally, remember this is sometimes happens mistakenly, you didn't do that, you didn't cite, but sometimes you intentionally, you want to hide it, you want to hide the original author, and you want to, you know make it look like you are the owner of the writing, then only it is called plagiarism. All right, so now let us go. This is what I just want to give you a background of this session. So in this session I am going to divide into three parts. Yeah, hopefully you can stay with me with all these three parts. Hopefully I can finish before the time given. So now we need to learn first what exactly plagiarism. So the first topic will talk about the forms and types of plagiarism. So in this first part, you need to learn, you need to know how to prevent, how to protect your writing from plagiarism, because we didn't want to do plagiarism, as I told you, but sometimes accidentally it happens and then we become the victim. Nobody wants to become the victim. Nobody wants to be told that, hey, you have plagiarized. We didn't like that. We spend years of writing and everything, and suddenly someone check your thesis, maybe they use some software and then they come and said, you have plagiarized. Nobody liked that word. Yeah. So now in this first part of the session, we are going to know what is plagiarism and how do you identify plagiarism, what are the forms of the plagiarism, and the most importantly, you will know how to prevent plagiarism. Yeah, how to protect your writing from plagiarism. And then goes to the second part of the session. The second part is going to teach you the rules and examples of the proper referencing. Proper referencing. In a way, it has a link to the last part of the first part. I mean, if you look at the second line, I told how to prevent. So the answer to that, how to prevent, referencing. So the referencing is the only tool that actually is going to help you to prevent from plagiarism. So the second part is going to give you the remedy. So if you look at the first part and the second part, the first part, we are going to discuss the disease. We are going to understand what kind of virus that could come to our paper. Yeah, today it's quite famous, huh? The word virus. So I'm just using the word. Yeah, so what kind of disease that can come to our writing, that first part going to explain to you. The second part going to give you the cure and the remedy, the treatment, what kind of treatment you need to avoid, to protect your paper. So the remedy and the treatment is actually what we call referencing. So that we are going to learn the rules and also some examples, the real-time examples. I brought it here. I'm very happy to show you that, same paragraph, some illustrated examples, the same paragraph can be written in original form. Okay, maybe this is the original writing. From original writing, I will show you the plagiarized version. I will also show you the appropriate and the perfect and the correct version. I will show you the correct version. So I will show you the original paragraph, I mean taken from someone, from original paragraph, how you can make plagiarized version and how you are going to make the correct version. So these are the examples are there. So I'm going to share with you all the examples in the second part of the session. So now you understand the disease, and then you are going to understand the treatment, You know, if when you already understand the disease and the treatment, when you already good at preventing from virus, when you are good at handling your own body, you know, protect yourself from the virus, do you still need to go to the hospital? Okay, most probably the answer will be you don't have to go to hospital if you already know how to handle your body and you already prevent yourself from the virus. So my point is, before I go to the third part of the session, the last part of the session is actually Turnitin, similarity and originality. And in the third part of the session, I'm going to show you how to access to the software Turnitin. But before I do that, let me clarify something. If you know how to avoid plagiarism and if you know how to do referencing, if you learn how to do referencing and you did yourself good, you don't have to go to hospital, which means you don't have to use Turnitin anymore. That is my point. I want to make that point very clear. If someone is very good at avoiding plagiarism and very good at, you know, writing a very good paper using referencing tool, you don't worry about, you don't worry about the Turnitin software. Let them run the software, but you don't have to wait for their result, because you know better, because you know you are writing. You know, it's like, I can give you an example. You know, when there is a wrestling, there is a boxing, and someone knock out in the first round, and then he didn't wait for the referee to give him the signal, to give him the result, and then he went out from the podium, because he knows, because the one who kicked someone in, who knocked out someone, he knows, the boxer, he knows already that, okay, I did it, there is no way that he can come back. So he didn't even turn back, and he just went out from the podium. He didn't even wait for the referee to announce who is the winner. Maybe you have seen something like that. So I'm just giving you an example. So if you have already followed the first two sessions and then you are good at it, you don't have to worry about turn 18. Turn 18 is a policeman. It's like, you know, if I'm following the law, why should I worry about the policeman? I don't have to worry about the police. If they stop me, I have no problem. They can stop me, they can check with me. I don't have any issues. That's what, you know, my response will be. So this is what actually simple and humble presentation I'm going to give it to you. So anyway, the third part of the session will inshallah show you the software Turnitin, right? The similarity, we will talk about the similarity, and we talk about the originality. Yeah, originality is what actually, when you are writing yourself, when you are paraphrasing yourself, when you are summarizing your writing, it is actually becoming originality. So we will talk about the similarity and originality, and then you need to know how to access, so that I can give you some examples and also some tools, also some ways that, you know, you can learn from it, and then you can actually ask your lecturer, your institute, your Kulliyyah, your faculty, your department to give you some access. I think nowadays every institute, they are, this is not possible that for, personally you can buy this software. This Turnitin is actually will be given to the institute, but the institute will give you access through your lecturers. So I think you can get that access. And how you get your access, and after you get access, how do you use Turnitin? Inshallah, I will be teaching you in the third session. All right. So that is what we are going to do. If there is any question before I start the first session, so please go ahead. You can ask me if there is any questions. All right. You can also type some messages in the chat box. You know, I can look into that and I can answer you. All right, then. So let's go to the session. I mean, the part number one. All right, we have three parts, as I told you. So this is a part number one. We are going to talk about the forms and types of plagiarism, and we are going to learn how to prevent it. All right, so you need to learn something, meaning what exactly they call plagiarism, what exactly the definition of plagiarism. So the first sentence that you see in the screen, which is actually plagiarism, one of number of practices deemed by universities to constitute cheating or lack of academic integrity. So um, this is actually the act. This is the act of plagiarism. This is not the definition of plagiarism. Because what happens when it comes to plagiarism, the university, what kind of action it will take. So this is an act from the university. The second paragraph, you can see plagiarism specifically is a term used to describe a practice that involves knowingly, remember, if you have pen and notes, so please you can note these points. I'm telling you this knowingly, this is the keyword. It is a practice that involves knowingly taking and using another person's work and claiming it directly or indirectly as your own. Right? So remember, if you do something but you didn't know, if you do something and you didn't know, your intention is not to plagiarize. This is what we call innamal a'malu bin niyyat. So likulli imri'in ma nawa. So which means that, you know, all those actions based on your intention. So if your intention is not there to do plagiarism, or you didn't know that, then it is not called plagiarism. It shouldn't be called plagiarism, right? So this is a practice involves knowingly, and also sometimes we take the work and then we put ourselves and we make ourselves as a owner of the work, sometimes directly or indirectly. So this is what they call plagiarism. To act of taking any idea or intellectual property expressed in material form, writing data or invention of another person claiming that idea, writing data or invention or the result of one's own findings or invention, or an attempt to make out or the act of making out in such a way that one is the original source or the invention which has actually been taken from some other source. So this is all actually, you know, considered to be plagiarism. So plagiarism is something that, as I told you, the whole idea must be taken. The whole idea, the whole work must be taken from someone, and then, you know, you publish yourself. I tell you one example, it can happen. Yeah. Usually it won't happen, generally speaking. I think some of you, I think already started, presenting conference papers. So now you submitted a conference paper somewhere in, it happens even to one of the professor, when I was actually administrator for this Turnitin at CPS. It happened to one professor. He told me this. I was surprised to see. He said that when he went to California and he wanted to present a paper, so he presented the paper and then he came back. And then after he came back, you know, he wanted to, usually what we do in conference, we present and then later we come back and then we rewrite or we add something and then we will publish it in as an article. This is what we do. We present the conference paper, we get some ideas, we get some notes, and then we come back and then immediately we will publish it in some journals. So that professor, who went to California from UIA, he came back, but he had so many other things for the whole year. For the whole year, he was quite busy. He was not able to, submit his paper to the journal article, to the journal. So he was actually busy with something. Suddenly he noticed that his paper was published in a journal, but his name was not there. Somebody's name, somebody else. He doesn't even know who is that person. So later he came to know that, when he went to that place, he presented the paper. Someone from the conference, someone from the committee or from the conference, stole his paper, and then he published in his name. See, it's still happening. So now the problem is, when I ran his paper, I mean his original paper from the professor, because I know my professor, of course, he never do plagiarism. But when I ran his paper in the Turnitin, it shows that this paper, this content has been already published by someone, because the someone who already published earlier than the original owner. So now, according to the academia, the professor cannot republish the paper. If he republished the paper, then it will be considered as a plagiarism. But the truth is, the one who did plagiarism is actually the other person. So this is just one example of the plagiarism. Yeah. So it could happen. That's why we have to be very careful when we go and present something. If it is your own idea, you have to of course take care of your work. That is of course is an amana, but at the same time we have to be careful with our work. So this is what, when someone is actually stealing somebody's idea and he can actually uh, publish, then it becomes plagiarism. Sometimes even in some countries, even some European countries, some ministers also, I think you heard the news, they are master. It's been a long time, but they go back and check their PhD thesis, and then they check their master thesis. Then they found out that the paper, the thesis itself, it is plagiarized, because it was written by someone, but he or she took that thing and then published again. It is called plagiarism. Yeah. So there are a number of examples. Let me give you more examples, the more forms. Okay, the main forms of plagiarism. So here let me give you around three main forms of the plagiarism. This is the, fundamentally speaking, this is the most relevant forms of plagiarism. But other than this, I have another 10 types of plagiarism I will show you after this. Okay, the direct one that all we know, copying another person's work. This is the most relevant form of plagiarism, copying another person's work. Number two, presenting arguments that use a blend of your own and a significant percentage of copied words. So now, I did not copy somebody's work completely, but I copy from somebody's work. But what I did is actually, I also blend some words. I copied. I only change, the right click. I just did the right click and then change the synonyms. So I put, like, for example, since, I changed to from. I change the word turn into change. So these are the things that what I do. I use the synonyms to change. So presenting argument that use a blend of your own and significant percentage of copied words. Still it is copied from someone. Yeah. Okay, we will come back to the accepted level of academia, Mohammad Azim. We will talk about it later when we go to the part number 3. Yeah, thank you for asking the question. Number 3, the paraphrasing another person's work but not giving due acknowledgement to the original author. So yeah, you are paraphrasing, of course. You are very good in writing, so your language is good. You have the proficiency of writing. This is number 3. Yeah. and you read something 3 times, you read a paragraph, and then you sit down and then you started writing your own. I mean, you started paraphrasing your own. For example, you started breaking the sentence. As I told you, paraphrasing, it is not just only changing the synonyms. It won't work. If I only change the few words in the sentence, that is not called paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means I need to break the sentence. I need to bring the same idea, but I need to break the sentence. If it is a passive voice, I need to change to active voice, direct sentence to indirect sentence. These are the changes I need to do. Then only it will be called paraphrasing. But after all your good effort of paraphrasing, you spend much time to do the paraphrasing. Is it still considered your idea? The answer is no. Still, it is not your idea because it is somebody's idea. You only did the paraphrasing, which means that you still need to do the citation. You need to tell, yeah, maybe you said according to Johnson 2010, and then you wrote according to your paraphrasing sentences, not his sentence. Usually, when people say according to Johnson, if they write exactly what Johnson said, then it is also similarity. So when you say according to Johnson 2010 in bracket, and then you write something, it must be your paraphrasing. It should not be, Johnson's original text. So now you did the paraphrasing. You spend some time to do that. But still it is not your idea, it is somebody's idea. So at the end of the paragraph, you need to make the parenthetical citation, what we call it. I will come back to the parenthetical citation in the second part of the session. So you have to do that, put within the bracket, you have to mention Johnson, 2010. Still you need to cite. So these are the three significant, forms of the plagiarism. Copying another person's work, directly copying. Number two, again copying, but blend your own, some words only changing. Number three, completely changing. By paraphrasing, but still you did not acknowledge to the original author. So all these three forms significantly, these three forms called plagiarism. All right. Okay, when a student or staff plagiarize, when they publish, with himself as the author or the co-author, or maybe when he forces another person to include his name, or when he extract academic data which are the result of research undertaken by some other person, when he uses research data obtained through collaborative work with some other person, when he transcribes the ideas or invention of others kept in whatever form, or when he translates the writing or invention of another person. So this is the last one also quite important, because when we are bilingual, for example, I know Arabic and English, or maybe I know English and Hindi, or English and Bengali, or Malay, English and Malay. So this is quite possible. I might be translating from someone, maybe I translate in Arabic, from Arabic to English, so I might not write the original author's name, which is again plagiarism. Remember, the translation, even now they have the recent software updates, still can identify from translation. Last time it was not the case, but now the software like Turnitin can go through the translations as well. And most importantly, it is not only the Turnitin actually is going to identify the plagiarism. It is also the expert in the field, the examiners, for example. You see, the reviewers. When you are writing a paper, article, journal, the reviewer. When you are submitting your master's and PhD thesis, there are examiners. There are viva. So the examiners, they are the experts of the field, and when they read your thesis, they will understand. When they read, they will understand that you have done this, because it is actually somebody's work, even though the work has been published in a different language. There is a possibility that they may find out, right? So the last one is quite important. Translate the writing or invention of another person. There's a possibility that sometimes, we take from some European languages and then we use some translation software to do the translation. But remember, there is nothing wrong in translating. You can get from any language, even from Chinese or Japanese, shouldn't be the problem. But we need to make sure that we need to cite, do the citation. Yeah, that is very important. So these are the main forms of plagiarism. Okay, what happens to the institute? You might be from the different, I think all of us, mostly we are here international. This is international webinar. So I think we have different institutes. I think most of the institute, what they will do if they observed or alleged to have been plagiarized, when they come to know, they will, upon receipt of complaint of plagiarism in a thesis, the secretariat of the DEC is the committee, shall postpone to the commencement of the viva, reporting to the dean of the Center for the Studies, establishing a committee to determine the validity of the complaint, submitting its recommendation to the university, final decision by the Senate. So the Senate of the university, the Vice Chancellor Senate of the university, the rector will decide, and then there is a possibility that they may revoke your graduation. Yeah. So yes, they have to go through, of course, as I told you, they will not only rely on Turnitin software. They will ask the professionals, the experts to identify. So in UIA, few cases are there. Yeah, we had this opportunity to find out, and then, the graduation has been revoked. So yes, this is what the university or institute will do when they come to know about plagiarism. This, I think I'm showing you right now, when do students plagiarize? Not necessarily all of us do this. I'm just giving you this because this is a survey made in Indiana University in America, US. So they came to this conclusion. They said students, they plagiarize because they want to get better grade. Sometimes we have this issue. I might not, my English is not my first language. Of course, I think most of us, all of us, English is not our first language. It could be Urdu, Bengali, Malay, yeah, some other languages, or Tamil, there's some other languages. So now here, people always think, oh, my language is not so good, so I don't want to do in my own, so I have to, copy from someone. Basically, they go for better grade, and then laziness, they don't want to work hard, and then the easy access. Yeah, I think I agree. Easy access means, Mr. Google is everywhere. I think, it's quite simple nowadays for you to just open a Google and ask for it, and then he will give you everything. He's very generous. Yeah, isn't it? He is too generous to give you everything. So he will give you what you want. He will give you more than what you want. And then, from there, not understanding the rule. Yeah, I agree with this one. Because they don't know whether they are really doing a plagiarism. They thought, I agree, because my students, they have to go through so many challenges. I give them some assessments. Yes, they say, yeah, I have to try here and there. So they have to work hard to get those things. Sometimes even I have to be very careful. I have to ask some questions in assessment where they cannot find answers in online. But still, mashallah, students are really good. They can still find, they have the very good search engine. Search engine is actually their brand. They can actually find answers. But sometimes they don't understand the rule. Yeah, they don't understand the rule, whether they are really committing plagiarism or not. For them, they are searching. They think the searching itself should be awarded, should be rewarded. Huh? But when we ask for the assessment or any writing, we really need student to be original. Yeah. So if you are taking from somewhere, you better you do citations. And happens unconsciously, I agree, because they are not. I told you, nobody wants to do plagiarize. Nobody really want to illegally do something. It happens unconsciously. So that's why these kind of sessions will help students, how to avoid those things. And okay, these are again, this from the same Indiana University. They gave the reason when they asked students, why do you plagiarize? Then the students gave these answers, like they started too late, they couldn't do the coursework, too much work sometimes, I agree. um, in fact, we also talked about it, especially when it comes to UIA. There is a there is a standard. You don't find any lecturers give you easy assessment, because they have to maintain the standard. So they give you proper assessment, proper task. And what happens nowadays is, actually, students, they have to sit behind the screen. Yeah. So now when they are behind the screen, they are not in front of you like in the traditional classroom. So they have to sit in the computer, and they have to spend too many, they're spending too much time on the computer. I can tell you, because I see my own children, even though they are in the primary school. So now I can see them, even the school children, sitting in computer, which I don't like it. I don't like them sitting in computer for so long, because usually in the traditional classroom, people go out, come back, and then they see each other, they say salam, they say hi, bye, everything. It's not happening. And then now, when we give an assessment, usually it takes like, usually, for example, you can finish, last time you can finish within 2 days or 1 day. But now when you do online, it takes more time. It takes more. It takes more than 2 days. It takes more volume, more time. You know why? Because you have more distractions. I think all of you agree with me, because when you open a computer, it is not that only the assessment that we are doing. We open one tab for email, another tab for Facebook, another tab for WhatsApp, another tab for, so many other things. Maybe some of you, like to play games, do this, do that, things, maybe YouTube videos, this and that, or maybe some music. So now it's quite challenging, especially the virtual learning, because you have so many distractions. Other than the distraction, you have your own distraction from house, from home, your father, your mother. Your mother might ask, oh, come back, do this, I need you. And then your siblings will come and, kachav you, they will come and disturb you. So these are the things that are happening. So I understand it's quite challenging nowadays to do these assessments from home, right? So I can see the differences. That's why most probably in my classroom, I would prefer to do the assessment during the classes, during the class time. So I would love to give them. So I ask them to read something. It's like a flip class. I ask them to read something before they come to class. So I give them all the materials, the video and everything. So when they come to the classroom, I ask them to do some assessment. So I really hate to give them assessment when they go home. So of course I did it. I did it last semester. Before that also I did it. So I want to change it myself, so that I can give them, I want to make them not to sit too much time in front of computers. It's also not good for your spinal cord. When you grow up, when you grow older, you will realize, maybe I think most of you are, mashallah, young scholars. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I understand, this is difficult because of the time put into the coursework. So that's why we need to be very smart. We need to allocate our time. We need to, avoid the distractions. And I have to follow my routine. This is quite important, early in the morning. After Fajr, I do certain things. If I have to go for, exercises and then things, routine, I follow that. And then I need to tell, okay, after 5 p.m., no computer. After 7 p.m., no computers. No late nights. If I don't put myself the rule, then it will harm us. Yeah, that's how, inshallah, we need to be smart in allocating our time. That is quite important for your body and soul. Yeah, also time to time you need to get out from the computer and then go for the prayers. you know Prayer also a kind of exercise. All right, and then go to the kitchen, help your mother for sometimes, help your siblings for sometimes, and then come back and do. If you are alone at your room, so go with your friends. Make sure that they if they need any help, you help each other. Anyway, the reasons given by the students, yeah, it's quite reasonable, because they said, started too late, couldn't do the coursework. Also, some of them not thinking wrong. They said, oh, what's wrong with plagiarism? Because I'm just doing my exercises. Yeah, this is not publication, just exercises, assessment. Someone, they want to get high marks. That's why they do plagiarism. And some people, they say they don't have to learn from the material, no keep up with the work. They want to get away with it. Yeah, this is something like, when I start late, when it comes to assessment, if I didn't start earlier, I start late, what happened? I just want to get away with it. They say, okay, you have to submit your assessment within 3 days. And then you waited until the last minute. There is no time for you. Then you came to a position, you came to a status that, I just want to get away with it. I don't care how I submit. So this is where people do plagiarism. Yes, the next one also very important. Felt that the tutor didn't care. So this is on us, not on you. The tutor didn't care. For sometimes the tutor didn't go through, the lecturer didn't go through your work. He just simply give marks based on the structure of the writing. He didn't check the plagiarism. Then that also has an impact on you. Then you will be feeling, okay, why should I write? My friend plagiarized and I wrote myself, but my friend got higher mark, and I didn't get higher mark. Then it makes you feel bad, isn't it? So that's why this is actually our fault, which is lecturers fault. Felt that the tutor didn't get. The last one, thinking that, this is actually funny one, the last one, thinking that paraphrasing would be disrespectful. So, like for example, when I read some writing, I say, hey, this is actually not your writing, because I can see the English is different, but suddenly this is become American, or suddenly become British or Australian. What's wrong? And then the student will tell, yeah, because I didn't want to disturb the content, because it's so good. If I go and change, if I do paraphrasing, it will be kind of disrespectful. Sometimes, they feel like, it is not respect. Anyway, so that's not the right reason to give. You have to paraphrase. There are certain things, of course, you cannot paraphrase. For example, when it comes to you are writing some definitions. Yeah, you are writing some act. Let's say if you are from law, you are doing some act, you have some equations, you have some legislations that you want to share. Of course, as I told you, definitions, and most importantly, when you are in Sharia background and you want to bring Quran and Hadith, of course you cannot paraphrase Quranic translations, right? So these are the things. Other than that, most probably you can paraphrase anything. Yeah. Okay. So let me show you the 10 types of plagiarism. Here I am going to give you, different types. What are the names that they call it? So these are the different types of plagiarism. Some of them, they call it clone, control C, find and replace. Let us see one by one, yeah? So here, I'm going to show you how problematic is this kind of plagiarism, and how frequently it's happening. So this is a kind of study I'm going to share with you. You can see the first one is a clone, yeah? As you can see, clone means submitting another's work word for word as one's own. You know, exactly the same. As you can see on your left side, I hope it is on your left. Yeah, natural setting, a history of exploration and settlement in Yosemite Valley. So this is the original work, and you can see on your right side, it is completely copied. So it is clone. And look up there, I'll also give you, this is number one, this is frequently 9.5 out of 10. This is more frequent. This is the most, this is the most one. This is more frequent plagiarism type, and also it is problematic. The problematic also it is 9.5, which means that if you do that, most probably, you know, you will be labeled that you have plagiarized. Yeah. Let's go to number two. Number two, we call it control C. What you do is actually contain significant portion of text from single source without alteration. So what you do from the single portion, you just copy and paste, control C, control V. Yeah. Maybe a small, very, very small alteration. For example, since the word since on your left side, look at on the right side, it is from the time. Yeah. Also, on your left side, you will see the word, I hope you can see my cursor. You can see the word hold. On your left side, on your right side, you can see the possession. So only, you know, one or two words only change, you know, maybe right click, you know, synonyms change, but most probably this is control C. It happens 8.9 frequency, and it is also problematic 7.4 out of 10. Yeah. Then you have find and replace. So now you copy and paste. After that, what you do, you find a certain word. You go to Control F in Word document, and then you type a word. For example, indigenous. The word you use indigenous, and then you want to replace with native. Yeah, and then you want to find the word conscience, and then you want to change into psyche, right? So grand set mindset. So this is how, you know, you want to you know, control F and then find and replace. This is also frequently happening 3.9, and then problematic 1.2. Then you have remix. Okay, remix is actually something paraphrases from multiple sources and made to fit together. So this is not actually from one source. The thing that on your right side, you can see that there are so many multiple sources, but it looks like it comes from the same source. That's why they have different colors. There's a gray color, and then there is some pink color. So this is actually shows. It is also frequently happening, 5.6 out of 10. Then you have recycle. Recycle is actually what borrows generously from the writer's previous work without citation. If you are a good author, you know, it happens, you know, I have to, usually I will write something similar to what I wrote earlier. Maybe I want to extend my content. I wrote something and I want to extend it, and I want to give a new development to my writing. So what I do, actually, I go back to my writing and then I recycle my own. Yeah, this is also happening, 5.5 frequency. Yeah. And then hybrid combines perfectly cited sources with copied passages without citations. So you can see that you will see on your right side that, you know, for example, you have orange color, and then you have the gray color, then again you have the orange color. So this is again combines perfectly, but there is no citation for it. It is called hybrid. Then you have mashup. Mashup is actually mixes copied materials from multiple sources, again without any citations, without any paraphrasing. It is also frequency 9.1 out of 10. Then you have 404 error, what they call it, you know, the term 404 error. Include citations to non-existent or inaccurate information about sources. You know, you copy and you paste somewhere, but you are not accurate about the sources. Then you have aggregator, which means includes proper citations to sources, but the paper contains almost no original work. So it looks like, you know, you can see on your right side, you will see that the footnotes are there. Yeah. Look at, down there, they have Herrick CA natural setting, nature, and this contents 23.1 1995. So now it looks like you have citations, you have footnotes and everything, but the truth is, it is not original work. It's fabricated. Yeah. And then you have retweet, which is the last one. The retweet includes proper citation but relies too closely on the text original wording and structure. Right, this is actually looks like the original wording and the structure but look like retweet. So I think this is actually the whole thing that you need to know about the plagiarism. Like, you know, the frequency, the most dangerous one is actually clone. Yeah. Then the most dangerous one is actually the control C, and then mashup, aggregator, recycle. Yeah. So you at least you know that there are various types of plagiarism. Okay. Okay. So additional information, details, you can actually visit these. You can get more infographic from these websites. Later you can have access to this. Okay, so I finished my first part of my session. So now I'm going to the second part of my session. So if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat box. I will be happy to answer.
Any question? Since we are also live on Facebook page of Postgraduate KENMS, in case anybody streaming live from the FB page would like to ask question, I can read the question for you.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay, so you can uh, you can write it down, your questions. If you have something, you can ask later, not necessarily right now, but if you have anything, you can leave it in the chat box. Inshallah, we will address. Thank you, Sister Shakira. All right, so let us continue the second part of the session. So in this session, I'm going to show you, of course, I'm going to teach you some rules of referencing. At the same time, I'm going to show you some real-time examples, you know, how you're supposed to cite, how you're supposed to prevent plagiarism. So we are going to take some time to, you know, show you some real examples of original writing. And then I will show you what is the plagiarized version of that original writing. And then I'm going to show you what is the correct version of that original writing. Yeah, this is a kind of learning moment for all of us. So first of all, referencing the rules. Yeah, so let us discuss why you need a referencing, and then when you need a referencing, and how you need referencing. Those who started, you joined late, so I'm just giving you this idea because before you learn the software, so it is better you learn what is the disease and also what is the treatment. If you are aware of the disease and you are capable of protecting yourself from the disease, and you are actually maintaining your body and soul in a good manner, there is no need for you to go to hospital, right? So when you are actually good, you are legal, you are not actually part of any illegal activities, and you are so good, you don't have to worry, or you don't have to be afraid when you see the policeman, right? So that is what actually I'm bringing that metaphor to this session. So when I know what exactly the plagiarism, and when I know how to prevent plagiarism, I don't have to worry about the software, right? The software is not going to change my concerns if I know already what is plagiarism and how I supposed to prevent. So now we are in the second session. We are talking about the rules of referencing and also some examples I'm going to show you, right, before I go and talk about Turnitin. So this is the why of referencing, the academic rationale for all styles of referencing and the principles underpinning the practice. Yeah. So this is the reason why we are doing this referencing. We also need to learn when you have to reference and when you don't have to do, when you don't have to do. There are some moments, some places you actually don't need to do the referencing. Yeah, you are also going to know that. And how we are going to do the referencing, the main differences between referencing styles in academic will be described and illustrated with examples. Most probably, when it comes to referencing, I'm going to only talk about how much it is related to plagiarism and how you can avoid plagiarism. But the detail of referencing, especially with Mendeley, I think we have another separate session. I hope it is tomorrow, right, with Brother Mohib. Inshallah, he will be discussing with you how do you cite using Mendeley. Yeah, that is going to be a very good session for you. So I hope all of you will attend. So the why, the when, the how. Yeah. Okay. Let us understand the principles of referencing. That when we talk about referencing, it is a kind of addressing your property. You see, you have a property somewhere, you have a house and you have a land, but you don't have an address. How does it feel? You have a house, but you ask someone to come to your house, but you forgot to give him the address. How do you think he will come and reach you? It is impossible, right? So it's like you are giving some address. This is how, when you do the referencing, then only your work will be published. Then only your work, your scientific research will be appreciated and also will be identified. Yeah. So referencing is the principle of intellectual property and also principle of access. It is like, when you do when you cite somebody, somebody will cite your paper. This is what we call citation index. Yeah. So we hope that people cite my work and I also cite people's work in my paper. So access, principle of economy. Yes, most of us, we do this citation, which means that we properly, nicely, we design our work and our paper, and finally we publish. We can publish in Q1, Q2, Q3. We find in WOS, Web of Science, or we go with the Scopus. Then it will also help you for your promotion. I think people are doing it for the purpose of promotion. So it is actually going to help your economy. And also you are creating a standard. When you follow referencing properly, you are creating a standard. So this is the standard how you want to, put your things. And of course, transparency. There is nothing to hide. If I learn from someone, I don't hesitate to tell from where I learned. Doesn't matter whether I learned from, sometimes, even I might have some issues with my own colleague. But when it comes to writing, if the idea comes from my colleague, even though I don't like him or like her, I should write his or her name. That is how I have to be transparent. This is the kind of amana. So this is all actually principles that we are discussing. Then please note this. If you have a paper and pen, please write it down. This is the golden rule of referencing. All right, let me read for you first. The golden rule of referencing is to give the reader enough information, remember, enough information to help them easily and quickly. to help them easily and quickly find the source you have cited. So this is the golden rule. You should be giving enough information. It's not like, refer to Johnson 2010, Johnson 2010. Okay, but where is the bibliography? You have to give enough information in your writing. You make sure that your reader get that information so that they can find easily and quickly the source that you have cited, right? You cannot simply say, I read somewhere, I don't remember the book name. You cannot do that. You have to find the source and then you have to make sure it is there. This is the golden rule of referencing. Because if they want to look at your source and check it for themselves, could they find it easily with the information you have supplied? So the enough information of supply, the enough supply, the enough supply of the information, which means, let's say if I'm actually referring to an article, I need to make sure that I write the article name, number one, I write the author of the article, number two, I write the name of the journal, I write the volume number of the journal. I don't stop. I also write the issue number of the journal. It is not only volume number. Sometimes you have volume number 3, but they have issue number 1, 2, 3. Right? Or maybe volume number 21, they have issue number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to write the volume number and the issue number, and also I need to write the page number. From which page to which page this particular article. Yeah, because the journal has so many articles. Yeah, the journals usually comes with more than 5 or 10 articles. So when I refer to a particular article in a particular journal, I should be referring to a particular page number. I must say this particular article is stated in page number 31 until 39. Yeah. So all this information must be there if you are citing an article. If you are citing a book, you need to make sure that book has the year of the publication and also the name of the author, the name of the book, and also the place of the publication, and also the name of the publication. And most importantly, you need to also write the edition number of the edition. And then the page number where you are citing exactly. So these are the information. The same thing goes to websites and also chapter in a book. When you are referring to a chapter in a book, you must understand that you have to write the editors of the book and also the author of the chapter. You have to also mention in that particular book, you are referring to a particular chapter, and you need to mention from which page number to the which page number that you are referring to, because you need to tell that particular chapter. So this is all quite important. If they find it easily with the information you have supplied, then voila, you actually succeeded in your golden rule of referencing. Yeah. Okay, there is a question before I go to the next one. Sometimes technical word, coefficient of determination, significant, also found plagiarized, also sometimes heading such as socio-economic profile. Okay, again, yes, this is also the question related to the next session, which actually we are going to talk about. Because you see, this is actually, you call it plagiarized, I call it similarity. Yeah, so now it's a very good question, by the way. Yes, I will address this question when it comes to the next part of the session, where I'm going to show you how Turnitin is going to identify the similarity. Yes, these words are there because it is inevitable. Yeah, it is inevitable. In another way, I can give an answer this question, and you look at the question before this question. Like there is a brother Mohammad Azim. He asked a question: what is the minimum plagiarism level accepted? So now you might have an idea The reason any institute um, or permitting some percentage of similarity accepted because of this reason that you asked by Swarab Barua, because sometimes it is inevitable that there are few words the software will identify, right? Okay, anyway, we will inshallah discuss this clearly. I mean, we will explain this in the next part of the session. Yeah, thank you for the question. Okay, so now you understood the golden rule of referencing. Why the referencing is important. Similar to that, so I'll go quickly. Tracing the origin of ideas, building a web of ideas, finding your own voice, validity of argument. Yeah, because validity of argument, this is where actually you need to find. That's why you need to read all those literature review, and then you put in front of you, and then from there you need to advance your argument. So this is how most of the time in economics, this is how we do. We bring all those literature review, and then we look for the gap, and then we start argue our point. Yeah, so spreading the knowledge and appreciation and influences, marking criteria, right? Avoid plagiarism. That is the last one, is most important as well. Avoiding plagiarism. This is why the referencing is so important. Okay, so just try to understand this chart. This chart I take from Colin 2007. So now you in this chart you will understand your basic writing of your thesis or your proposal or your journal or your article, anything, because this is how you do step by step. Look at the first one. The first one is stating your point of view early in the assignment, which means in your thesis or in any article, in any proposal, stating your point of view early in the assignment and presenting a clear and consistent rationale to support it. Yeah, so you are coming up with an idea, right? So you just want to, you are thinking that in this particular field, in introduction, for example, you have to tell your reader that what exactly you are going to do. Most importantly, the last sentence of your first paragraph should tell the reader that what is it all about and what you are going to do in this paper. Yeah, so now you are stating your point of view, but your point of view is there, but you should offer reliable evidence. I mean, you have to say, okay, I'm going to talk about this problem, I'm going to write about this problem because there is a reliable evidence available, it's happening. Maybe you can say that this particular subject, this particular issue right now is been highlighted by many authors. This particular issue probably is being discussed by the government sectors or maybe academic sectors. This particular issue right now, it affects the middle income people, maybe B40, these are the things, you have to you have to state that, offer some reliable evidence, right? I'm not talking about the citation yet. In the second box, I'm asking you to bring some reliable evidence in your writing or illustrative example to support your argument. This is evidence that you have read in reputable and authoritative text, articles, newspaper, internet sites, and so on. Next, this is the most important part. So when you said, there is number of articles has been done in this way, there's a number of authors already talked about it, there's a number of government sectors, they implement this issue, there's a number of academic institute, did this, did that, everything, then you need to show where this evidence has come from. This is where you can do the author date system, which is what we call in text citation. Most probably the economic students will use it. Maybe some other Kulliyyah, for example, law faculty or some other social sciences, they might go for the footnote citation. Yeah, this is where you will be citing where exactly. This is number 3, yeah, box number 3. showing where this evidence has come from by citing your sources and listing all your sources in the reference or bibliography section at the end of your assignment. Yeah, okay. Number four, showing that you are aware of it. Not because, you see, this is most important part as well. You know, sometimes we read, you know, I'm talking about the most important evidences for your topic, for your issue, and you offer the reliable evidences, and you also show that these evidences come from this. But the question is, are you aware of it? Which means, did you yourself open that document and you read, or you just want to talk about those issues because you know, someone talk about it in his article? All right, this is very important. For example, you say, this is a big issue, the B40, they actually, you know, they suffer because of this issue, and many authors talked about it. You know, are you referring to this particular uh, issue because somebody talk about it in his paper, or you yourself read those papers, or you yourself saw those messages, information, news? This is important. This is number four, showing that you are aware of it and have considered arguments that are counter to your own. You will need to summarize counter arguments in a clear, accurate, and undistorted way. All right, then only you will be able to do the last part. You know, the last part is what actually you do before the conclusion, before the last chapter, where you will be able to show, the last one, being able to show why you have decided that the arguments you have chosen to advance are more convincing for you than others. Remember, it is okay for you to bring all the thoughts and literatures in chapter number 1, 2, 3. Shouldn't be a problem. But in the chapter before the conclusion, yeah, if you're writing an article, the paragraph before the conclusion, you cannot simply tell somebody's literature and then you can finish your argument. No, you have to argue and you have to convince your reader more than the others, which means you have to convince. So if you fail to convince more than the others, then it is not your work. Remember this. You have to tell, okay, based on this, my chapter number 1, 2, 3, based on my literature review, based on my research methodology, based on my findings and analysis, and based on my discussion, I can convince that I am right. This is where actually the last part, it is quite important when you write your thesis. Yeah. Okay. So 4 main sets of questions concerning references. When you choose so many references, so make sure, I know it is very difficult for you. How do I sort out the most relevant um, references? Because when I want to write something, let's say I want to, writing about the, for example, awareness on poverty issues, then there are so many hundreds and hundreds of references. So how am I supposed to sort out? So these are the few concerns. You can actually go with the relevance and bias. Bias is not necessary for everybody. If you are from the Sharia background, you know, you need to go for the bias. Relevance, and then currency. Currency, what I mean by currency is the current. You don't have to go through the old, like 20, 30, 40 years ago references. Choose the current one, choose the accurate one. Accuracy is actually, you know, the thing. It's not left or right, it has to be accurate. You have to choose the more relevant and more accurate to your study. And you need to also make sure that coverage. What I mean by coverage, let's say you are doing something, the work in Bangladesh, make sure that in surrounding of Bangladesh, you know, similarly the same culture, you know, the same people, you know, the same lifestyle. So make sure you also do the coverage of it. If you are doing in Malaysia, make sure that you also do the coverage on in Indonesia, in Philippines, in Thailand. This is all like this is like, you can also do the coverage. Also, there is few places you do not need to do the references. So like I told you earlier at the beginning, I told you I will talk about it. When you do not need references. So there are four places, four situations that you don't need to do the references. Number one, presenting historical views. So when you talk about some historical views, for example, you say Malaysia got independent, or Bangladesh or India got independent. Of course, everybody agree, everybody know what we call so-called independent, but you don't have to bring the references for that, because everybody know that Malaysia got independence. Yeah. So historical view, you don't have to give any references for that. And also own experience. When you are talking, when you are bringing your own experience, in my view, I happen to, for example, when you are doing some interview, yeah, some of you might go for this qualitative research. You have to do this survey, and also you have to do sometimes the interview. You go and ask some people's experiences. You say, okay, they will tell, okay, I went there, I had this issue when I was in Indonesia. That's good enough. You don't have to ask, can you give me some references that you were in Indonesia? No necessary. Yeah. So own experiences doesn't require any references. Also remember this, I have seen many theses do this mistake. When it comes to conclusion, the last part of your thesis, yeah, maybe it is like if it is 5 pages or 10 pages or 20 pages, if it is PhD, you don't have to, when you repeat the ideas, because sometimes you need to summarize it and you have to repeat what you have done in the findings and discussions. You need to repeat it in your conclusion. You don't have to actually bring the citations. Yeah. Also the last one, also very important, summarizing what is regarded as common knowledge. If I say, sun rises from the east, everybody know that, sun sets west. This is actually common knowledge. You don't have to bring any references for common knowledge. For example, if I say education is the most important factor to develop a nation. Right? Education is the most influential sector to develop a nation. So this is actually a common knowledge. You don't need to bring some references for these kind of statements. Yeah. Okay. So now this is the what do you call this is actually the most important slide for you today. One of the most important slide, like I told you, the golden rule. This is also place mark it down if you have a paper and pen. So now there is how I'm going to answer the question, how do you prevent plagiarism? So I give you two options. All right, how do you prevent plagiarism? I give you two options. Before I give you two options, let me clarify one thing, the ground rule. The ground rule is, there is nothing wrong, remember this, there is nothing wrong from quoting from others. There's nothing wrong in quoting from others. There is nothing wrong in copying other people's work. There is nothing wrong, because this is what academia is actually. We always need to quote from someone, we always need to copy people's work. But however, we need to follow, most importantly, we need to follow two rules. The most important two rules. So now what I would like to say, there is no way that you can do your chapter number 1, chapter number 2, chapter number 3, sometime even chapter number 4, without other people's work. It is impossible. It is impossible. Okay. Am I online? Can you hear me?
Yes, doctor.
Sister
Can,
Shakira?
doctor? Can.
Can. Okay. My video got, I don't know. My video is suddenly frozen.
Oh, might be because of the connection issue, I think.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we have that when everybody working from home.
Oh, I see. Okay, I just need to, I just wanted to verify. Thank you so much for the verification. All right. Okay, so what I was saying, it is impossible for you to write your chapter number 1, chapter number 2, chapter number 3 without other people's work. So you have to quote from someone, you have to paraphrase it, you need to copy from others. But you need to follow 2 rules. Number 1, you must summarize people's work. When you actually want to copy somebody's idea, their concerns in your writing, make sure number 1 you summarize it, or you can actually paraphrase it. Yeah, you can summarize it, you can paraphrase it. It's like, you're restating their work, but you are using your own language. Yeah, so you are using your own language, your own proficiency in your language. So you are actually try to read 3 times and then write in your own way. You don't worry about your grammar, you don't worry about your English, because we can work on English later. Because all of us actually, we are not born English. Yeah, we are not born English, so English is our second language. So definitely we might need some help. We actually can go and get some help from some professionals, some experts. That's the reason why there are some experts. So we should not worry about our language. We just need to read 3 times and then write in our own language. And remember, when you summarize it, which means you don't have to paraphrase sentence by sentence. That is not actually summarizing. That is not actually that will be rephrasing. There's a difference between summarizing and rephrasing. Sometimes we mix up. Rephrasing is actually you take a sentence and then you rephrase. So in a way, if you do one sentence, it will be called rephrase. But if you do if you rewrite the whole paragraph, it will be called paraphrasing. So here I'm talking about summarizing. So I'm going to show you some examples. That's what I'm just giving you this. After this, I'm giving you the real-time examples. So now when you are actually summarizing, you don't have to rephrase the entire paragraph where you read from someone. You are going to only take what is relevant to your topic, what is relevant to your scope, right? Because the original author, he may have some other, the original author also, he also, paraphrase from somebody. Not necessarily he created that knowledge. So now you need to choose the thing is related. I would also suggest that if there is any courses or training that they are offering, how to do paraphrasing, how to do summarizing, so please go and attend. And I also suggest you, advise you, you will get plenty of YouTube videos, how to paraphrase, how to summarize. I tell you, this is very, very important skill for every single writer. Remember this. You cannot write your thesis, you cannot get your master's, or you cannot get your PhD unless you are a writer. I mean, if you are not a writer, you cannot get your master's and your PhD. You have to be the writer. Yeah, there are bad writers, there are good writers. And as I told you, we are not, born English is a second language, but still we can try, we can practice. There are a number of, internet, options. There are a number of software, number of, courses available online that you can learn how to rewrite, how to paraphrase, how to summarize. That is very, very important. So that is what the first um, way, how do you prevent plagiarism? Yeah. The second way of plagiarizing, second way of preventing the plagiarism is actually, using the quotation marks. So now let me tell you why you have to use the quotation mark. Let's say I think I don't have to, I think that I don't have to paraphrase some of the work, some of the author's concerns, then it is allowed, it is permitted for me to actually go and bring the same sentences. I can actually bring the same sentences in my paper, in my thesis. But the thing that I have to do, I need to follow, just I have to use the quotation mark. So I need to make sure that it is a quoted material from someone. There are a number of ways that you can do, you can show that it is quoted materials. So what we do in UIA, we actually, if it is more than 3 lines, if it is more than 50 words, what we do actually, we separate it from the paragraph. We enter, we make it into the next paragraph, and then we do the block. We select the entire quotation, and then we give the indenting 1.2 centimeter left, and again indenting 1.2 centimeter right. So it will be like both sides there will be indenting 1.2 centimeter. So it looks like a block. That is one way of doing. The most important thing that you need to also do for the purpose of the software, you have to make sure that you use the quotation mark. The quotation mark is just beside your enter key. If you look at your keyboard, it is right beside your enter key. You will see the double quotation mark, not the single one. Don't use the single one twice. Sometimes people do the single quotation mark, but they do twice. No, don't do that. Choose the double quotation mark, and then make sure it there at the beginning of the quoted material. It is also there at the end of the quoted material. If you only put quotation mark at the beginning and you forgot to put at the ending, still the software will find that it is actually, it has a similarity. So now why I have to do the quoted materials, why I have to do quotation mark? Because sometimes I see I want to bring the same definition, I want to bring sometimes I want to bring the act or the legislations. Sometimes I need to bring some equations. Sometimes I need to bring some Quranic verses or hadith. So these are the things when I do. Even sometimes if you want to bring the interviews response in your paper, you can also use. There are so many places that you can use, but make sure that you don't use much, because your examiner won't like it. If you use more than 10 or 20 percentage of your thesis, if you use quoted materials in your paper more than 20% or 10%, then it looks like it is not your writing. So make sure that you minimize the quoted materials and you try to paraphrase it. Then these two things actually will save you, will prevent you from plagiarism. Yeah. So now I give you these two things. The first dot, attempt to summarize or restate another person's work, theories or ideas and give acknowledgement to that person. This is usually done by citing your source and presenting a list of preferences. And by always, the second one, by always using quotation marks or indenting lengthy quotations in your text to distinguish between the actual words of the writer and your own words. Once again, you should cite all sources and present full details of theses in your list of references. Remember, most important point, whether you want to use the first method, which is summarizing or paraphrasing, or you want to use the second method, quotation mark, quoted materials. In this both method, you have to cite all the resources, all the sources and the details of the references. Yeah. So summarizing and paraphrasing, you need to also do exercise, then only you can get this. Okay. Now the next what I'm going to give you a couple of examples, the real-time examples of first of all, I would like to start with, I have two categories in these examples. I'm going to show you. The first category of example is actually plagiarism in word for word. This is the word for word example of plagiarism, in one which the writer directly quotes a passage or passages from an author's work without the use of proper quotation mark. So the first one is the word for word example. Let's see the example. Okay, I hope it is clear to your screen. So now let me explain how this is going to work. This is the kind of exercise I hope I will ask you. You can also answer some questions. The first example, on your top you see you see what? Original source materials. So now you read the first one. Technology has significantly transformed education at several major turning points in our history. In the broadest sense, the first technology was the primitive modes of communication used by prehistoric people before the development of spoken language. So they are talking about the spoken language. Before that, memes, gesture, grunts, drawing of figures, these are the things. So now on your right, now you can see down there, you will see on your left side, which I gave the red color, the right side, which I gave the green color. I hope you also see the same. Yeah. So now in examining, you can see the plagiarized version, which is the red color. Um, uh, and you can see also the correct version, which is the green color, and try to see what exactly is the difference. Can you I just give you 2 minutes or maybe 1 minute to tell me. So I want this to become interactive session, right? So I want you to give me some answers. You tell me, what do you see? What are the differences? Yeah. Yes, Abu Sufyan, are you ready? If you're ready, yes, go ahead. Anyone from the audience, you can. Is it possible, Brother Mohib, they can talk?
Yeah, sure, Dr.
Yes.
Brother Abu Sufyan, you can talk if you would like to.
Okay, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam rahmatullah. Tafadhal.
So I can see from the plagiarized version,
Yes.
person omitted referencing.
Very good. The first point. The first point is there is no references. Very good. Okay, number 2.
The second point is the person omitted the quotation signs.
There is no, yes, there is no quoted, there is no quotation mark. Very good. There is no quotation mark. Very good. Number 2. Okay, good.
Okay.
Number 3. Anybody can go for number 3. Anybody from the audience?
That's all I can find.
Okay, good. Thank you, Abu Sufyan. Is there from the audience can find more than this number 2? I mean, Abu Sufyan said there is no references in the plagiarized version. There is no references. But in the correct version, you can see the last 2 lines. There is a references like Frick T 1991, restructuring education through technology, which means that this is the bibliography, what we call it. Yeah. The second point that he mentioned, in the plagiarized version, there is no quotation mark. Yes. Okay. I think I still see 2 more. 2 more differences. Anybody can find 2 more differences? Okay, I will tell you. Don't worry. So that you can. Yes. Yes, Ahmad, Omar, Usman.
Yeah, they didn't mention the name of the author.
Very good. Very good. You see, thank you, Umran Osman. You see the second line in the correct version, they mentioned Frick 1991. Frick 1991. We call this in-text citation. And this is actually a normative references, because Frick 1991 as an author, you can see it's not there in the plagiarized version. There is no name in the plagiarized version at all. So The one you see in the black letters like references Frick T 1991, this is actually the bibliography. But you look the in-text citation, you will also find Frick 1991 believes that. Very good. There is one more. Can anyone find one more?
The page number?
Very good, Musa. Very good. You are good. So the last one, what I see is at the page number. Look, P10. After the quoted materials, you need to get the page number. So now read. Now you will understand the differences. Can anyone tell me, this is a kind of tricky question. Can anyone tell me in the correct version, in the line number 3, there is a 3 dot. Can anyone tell me why there is these 3 dots?
This means that there is some other issues. Means just you quoted a part of his
Very good.
para or like this.
Yes, very good, brother Muhammad. Thank you so much for that. See that there is a 3 dots because you see how transparent we are when we are writing. You know, this writing is actually a kind of craft. Once you started doing it, you will love it. You know, you have to be very transparent to your reader. Your reader should know that there is something before this quotation. Don't think that this quotation is the beginning of the paragraph. There is something before this quotation, but which is not relevant to my writing. That's why I didn't say it. So that's why you put 3 dots and then you write. The first technology was the primitive modes of communication used by prehistoric people before the development of spoken language. So this is how you will see the differences. Let's go. You have done very well. Everybody, tahniya, congratulations. Let's go for the next one. Okay. I give you again 1 minute to find the differences. Okay, is it obvious? Yes, is it always needed to write the page number at the end? Yes, always needed. You have to. When you do the quotation mark, you have to use the page number. Azim, yes. Which one is better, summarizing or using quotation in analyzing your interview? In interview, you can do both. You know, you don't have to. Usually what they do, this is a question from Musa. You can actually bring all those interviews in appendix. In appendices, you can bring all the question and answers to your interviews. But when it comes to your real writing, your writing, your thesis, you can just only give some paraphrasing. It is better, yeah. Okay, the Turnitin, Ali Al-Sawaye, he asked about, is there a Turnitin software which considered to be more accurate? Please share. Okay, we will discuss this in the next part of the session, yeah? Okay, good. Okay, so yes, very good. Mohammad Abdul Rauf, you said in-text citation, very good. That is the first one. There is no in-text citation in the plagiarized version. Okay, go ahead. What else? There is no quotation mark, right? But there is actually bibliography. The previous example, there is no bibliography, but in this one, in the second example, example number 2, there is actually bibliography. So since the bibliography is there, don't you think it is good enough? Why it is still called plagiarized? So sometimes we think like that, right? So you see, you might say to your examiner, your supervisor, I have already given the bibliography. You see, the bibliography comes at the end of your topic, at the end of your writing. So It's there only if your reader needs to go there. Only he will go there or she will go there and look for the bibliography. But in-text citation is very important, very, very important. If you did not show the author name in text citation, then it is also considered to be a plagiarism. All right. Good. So the other thing is, can you also see the difference between, can you give me one example, one difference between the previous one and this one in terms of in-text citation? Is there any difference in the method of in-text citation? Very good. Okay, Azim gave the answer, quotation sign, in-text citation, no indication of partial sentence, very good. No page number, very good. Don't give credit author, yes, very good, Atar Rahman. Yes, no page number, Swarab, yes, very good. Okay, the question now is there any difference between the previous one? Okay, this is the previous one. There is a method of citation, in-text citation. Do you see the difference between this citation, in-text citation, and the next example? Do you see any difference in the in-text citation? You see, right? Do you see? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very good. Very good. You identify the difference. This is what we call parenthetical citation, remember? Which means in the previous one, in the previous example, we gave the author's name first and then we give the idea second. Author's name first, idea second. But in the second example, we give the idea first. We give the idea first and then we make bracket parenthetical citation. Like for example, this one you can see in bracket, Heinisch, Molinda, Huschel, Small Dino, 1999, page number 17. So this is what we call parenthetical citation. Yeah, very good. Let's do one more. All right. Okay, this is the tricky one. So tell me, what exactly the problem in this? Okay, what is the basic difference between references and the bibliography when we use references, the bibliography and manuscript? Okay, very good question, Swarab. You know, references, what we call references is only the citations that you use in your article. We call list of references. But a bibliography is something that whatever relevant, it's like, you know, the bibliography is the first thing that you do when you start writing something. So what you do, you will gather all the list of the references that you might able to see, you might not able to see, you might able to read. There is a possibility, you know, you might not also able to see it. So now in the bibliography, it covers whatever related to that particular topic that you are doing, it comes under the bibliography. But the list of references, when you write your article, you have to only give the list that you mentioned in your paper, which means that whatever the names that you mention as in-text citations, only those names you have to list it in the list of references. All right, this is the difference. Hope I answer your question. Okay, very good. So now the differences. What do you see the differences in example number 3? You see in this example, in plagiarized version, you can see, you already saw the in-text citation. See here, you can see my cursor, right? You can see the in-text citation. They also brought, maybe there is no quotation. Very good, Musa. No quotation mark, no page number, Very good. So this is what actually the correct version. So when you have the quotation mark and then the page number, because when you have a quotation mark, you should have the page number. Very good. Let's do number 4. This is interesting, right? In number 4, I think it's quite obvious because there is no bibliography. Sorry, there is no reference list at all. Number 2, you can see there is no, look at the plagiarized version, there is no reference list at all. Also in the plagiarized version, there is no in-text citation. So number 1, no bibliography references, no in-text citations, no page numbers. Yeah, good. Meanwhile, you have any questions, you can ask me. Yeah, don't worry. Okay, go for number 5. Number 5. Number 5, what do you see? So these are all examples for you. You know, I because of the time constraint, I didn't read, and then I gave you the. If you look at this example, you have a wealth of knowledge because you will learn how to do paraphrasing. Because this example shows you what is the original source material, what is the plagiarized version, how you're supposed to do the correct version. So what you're supposed to learn here, not only the citation method, it is also the paraphrasing method. How do you do paraphrasing? Because of the time constraint and we are not doing the paraphrasing class, so I don't have to do, I don't do this because of the time constraint. But for you, when you have this example with you, inshallah, I will be sharing with you the slide. So please go through this part, especially the original source material, and try to compare your correct version with original source material. Then you will understand how beautifully, perfectly they paraphrased. So that is what you will take away from this. So now you can see no quotation, very good. No quotation mark, no page number, very good. So this is most probably, you know, people do that, but still it is wrong. Yeah. Okay. Good. So this is all quotation mark related examples, quoted materials related examples. Now I'm going to give you most important thing, which is paraphrasing examples. There are so many examples. You know, this is where actually we might have issues. We even when I discuss with, yes, Abu Sufyan.
Please, doctor, I have seen, like, I've chanced some papers. They use the author name first, and then at the end of the paper, they bring the parentheses. I don't know. Can you merge all, or like, can you bring all together, or you have to pick one?
Oh, okay, good, good. I mean, you are asking whether should I use only parenthetical citations or normative citations, isn't it?
Yes.
You see, I will tell you, this is your craft. This is your writing, your craft. Make sure that you make it beautiful. You bring everything. You must, some paragraph should have the citation first and then idea second. In some paragraph, you give the idea first and then citation second. So because you have to make it quite attractive to your reader. If you follow the same method, the same structure in your entire, you know, in your entire writing, it kind of, you know, it's kind of boring. People won't be happy to read. So the same thing goes to when I say, you know, when you want to bring somebody's idea, usually people use the word according to. Do not repeat the word according to all the time. You have to bring something else with regard to, in regard to, or maybe you put his name. Like for example, Frick 1991 believes that, Brick 1991 states, Brick 1991 emphasizes. You have to change the words. You have to change your writing. This is the craft, so that, you know, you make it interesting. If you follow the same thing in every paragraph, you know, it is not quite attractive. Yeah, that's my concern. All right.
Okay.
So now you have this plagiarism
Doctor,
and paraphrasing. Yes.
what I'm saying is, I see like some authors in one paragraph,
Mm.
they bring the nominative. Then at the end of the paper, the paragraph, again, they bring the parentheses again. I don't know, like, are you supposed to pick one or you can bring both, like nominative first, and at the end of the paragraph, you bring the second, the parentheses again.
You see, yeah, I understand. The reason maybe they brought the two, it's not actually they are referring to the same sentence. They may have more than two sentences in your paragraph.
Okay.
So the normative citations may be referring to the first statement.
Okay.
Maybe the second statement, you see, this is what I said, this is the beauty of writing. Maybe the second statement, it is the same author, but maybe different page number.
Okay.
So you can do that actually. It is
Okay.
up to how, yeah, it is how you want to scale it. Yeah.
Okay.
So plagiarism in paraphrasing. Now you can see here, the reason I'm bringing this one here because even many years ago, even for researchers like us also, we had issues in this. But now, of course, everybody following it because we thought, okay, when we do the paraphrasing, do I need to bring the in-text citation? The answer is yes, you should bring the in-text citation even though you paraphrase everything. I might be asking, is it good enough? I only bring the name in the list of references. Why should I bring in the in-text citation? The thing is, you have to, because you have to acknowledge the idea, even though you paraphrase it. Yeah. Okay. So here you can see. Okay. Now it's quite clear. This one. What is the problem here? Because there is no in-text citation, right? You got it? According to Gredler 2001. You will see in the plagiarized version, there is no according to grid, right? It's clear. And also try to understand this one point. It's like a tip. Look at the original source material. What do you see? In original source material, do you see number 1, 2, 3, 4? But when they paraphrase it, do you see number 1, 2, 3, 4? You don't. You don't see the number 1, 2, 3, 4. In the original, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how you paraphrase. When you paraphrase, you don't have to mention the way the original author mentioned. You have to change it. This is one good example for you. Okay, good. Okay, in this one again, I think it is also very clear. This is actually parenthetical citation. And as you can see in the plagiarized version, there is no parenthetical citation. And in the correct version, there is a parenthetical citation. So you can clearly understand this. So the most important part, this is also considered plagiarism, even though you bring the reference list. This is where actually sometimes people get surprised. I brought the references. But the most important thing, yes, I know you brought the references, but did you bring the in-text citation? There is no in-text citation. That's why it is considered plagiarism. Okay, look at this example. This is actually still original material. Yeah, I didn't go. The next page will show you the correct version. This is original material. Look how big it is. This is original material. But when they do paraphrase, it becomes very small. Right? Frick 1997 explains that in order to do cognitive assessment, we need to create observable situation in which we can infer learning achievement. So I think this is crystal clear because this is also plagiarized because there is no references. Okay, good. Here, another good example for you. Look at the plagiarized version. They have the in-text citation, but still it is considered plagiarism. Why? This is something, to me, it should not be told plagiarism because, maybe he forgot to maybe I think he forgot or she forgot to add in the reference list. Remember, it is in this you learn that you have to make sure whatever that you mention in text citation, make sure that you also write add in your list of references. Exactly. So now you can see in this, even though they have in-text citation, but they don't have the reference list. All right. So this one again, you have another example for you. In this, there is no in-text citation. On your right side, there is in-text citation and also reference list. Yeah. Okay. So that's all with this part. More examples you can get from this website. I got it this from Indiana Edu example. So now we have done the second part of the session. Now we are going into the third and the final part of the session, where inshallah we are going to talk about Turnitin software itself. I'm going to show you how the software is going to look like and how to access it. So I'm going to give you some way that you can ask your instructor, your lecturer to get the access. Yeah, okay. So I think Sister Shakira, is it okay? We can have some break, like 5 minutes, or what do you think? Up to you.
Sure, doctor.
With your permission.
Sure. We can have like a 5 minutes break for everyone to stretch
Okay.
before we continue.
It's been 2 hours already, so I think, yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, okay. For Sister Atia, I think sister, right, Atia? The recorded video and the slides will be sent to you. We will share to you via email upon the registration of your attendance. I think Brother Muhib had shared the link to the attendance earlier. Let me see again. Okay, I found the attendance list. Attendance link to the attendance.
Yes, actually, those who are requesting for a recorded video or slides, so we'll share once it's ready to share, okay? So until that time, we have been informed that as there is live session in the Facebook and the
Yes.
recording is still there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just you can go scroll down and get for all session there. For now, you can refer that video, and once our video is ready, maybe not before finishing our all sessions. Okay, so we will send together, inshallah, in one link. So every day emailing all participants is not good. Okay, so be patient for that until that time and pray for us so that we can manage everything, inshallah.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back. All right, Sister Shakira, I just want to tell you, I'm just receiving a few messages. There are some questions in Facebook. Sorry, I don't have access.
Let me check again, Doctor, because
Okay.
earlier I don't see any questions, so I might left out the latest questions. Let me see. There's a question from Brother Mohammad Tabit. I think this is an APA style, or how it will come in the Chicago style. I think about the phrasing earlier, the one that we discussed earlier.
Yes, good. That's a very good question. So actually what, when you see all these that I brought the examples, all these actually, yes, it is actually the in-text citation, or what we call author date system, or what we call APA, whether it's 6th edition or 7th edition. But when it comes to, so most of the Kulliyyah, for example, economics, finance management, and also psychology, most of the engineering, most of the science-based institutes and everyone, they use APA. But some Kulliyyah, like for example, I call law faculty and Islamic revealed knowledge, right? Even I think people who write in Arabic, especially in Islamic banking and finance, they use the footnote citation, right? So now I think for the footnote citation, it is, I tell you what, myself also, I prefer footnote citation. You know why? It's difficult for the writer, but it is quite easy for the reader. The reader will be more happy to see the footnote citation, because the reader doesn't need to go back to bibliography. He will get the citations, details on the same page, but it is quite difficult for the writer. But the APA is actually quite easy for the writer. So, you know, we just have to only give some in-text citation, and then we will ask our reader to go back. So now, if you look at this format, it will be the same format for Chicago style. I mean, the footnote style as well. If you look at the previous examples that I gave in the last part of the session, like when I talk about the, let me go back, when I was giving you the 10 types of, I think you saw this, right? So when we talk about these 10 types of plagiarism, you can see that there are they use this footnoting. Look at this example. They have number 1, number 2, number 3, and then they have. So it is not that difficult to do. So when you do this what we do right now, you can actually do the same thing. You can bring that footnote numbers, but you will mention the author's name some places, but you will not mention the year of the publication. That is the difference between citation, footnote citation, and in-text citation. You won't believe, you won't write. Instead, you will put the number at the end, and then you will cite it in the last part of the page. But still, the paraphrasing, the quotations, a lot is the same. There's nothing different. It's only the way of doing. Here they use author date system in APA, but when it comes to Chicago, you will just mention the idea. At the end of the idea, you will put the small footnote number, and then on the same page, you will mention the author name and the book name or the article name, the journal's name, and everything. So it's the same thing. It will apply whatever the citation method you use. Sometimes you want to use Harvard or Turabian or MLA, any method, the plagiarism still applies. Okay, so before I start the next one, Sister Shakira, I just want to ask how many minutes I have.
We schedule the session until 1 p.m. So it's
1 p.m. Okay, that's a relief.
Left.
I thought it's 12:30, so I was thinking. Okay, good. So what I do, I will finish this quickly. Then inshallah, I will open for Q&A. Then inshallah, we can have some question and answers. You know, you can ask me. Most probably, this is also a very important session. But as I told you, if you are good in part number 1 and part number 2, you don't even need to know this part number 3. Just for the sake of, you know, the technical issues, you just need to know so that you can apply, and then you can submit your report to the lecturers, the publishers. For that reason, you are going to learn this. Okay. Okay, this is Turnitin. There are two types of, two types of workshop that we do. Usually when I started this, I used to do for instructors. So that instructors part, I have done it for all the lecturers. So that one, I'm not doing it here. Here I'm only doing getting started for students because all of us are your students. We are the users. So now what is Turnitin? This is what we are going to learn today. What is Turnitin? How do you access to Turnitin? There are seven steps actually you need to make sure in order to completely use this Turnitin software. Yeah. So to access Turnitin, each user must create a unique user profile. The user profile consists of an email address, user password, optional personal information, and a set of user preferences. There are two ways for students to obtain Turnitin. So there are two ways. How do you get Turnitin access? Number one, your institute will register for you, and they will send an email to you. Once you start clicking the email, then you will get access. So this is what if you are registered under your university or institute, they will do it for you. This is number one. Like for example, myself as an academic staff in UIA, so I got mine from the administrator of UIA. So they send me an email, and then I open it, and then I got the access. The second way of doing is actually myself. I can actually give you access. In fact, I can give anybody access, but the problem is every Turnitin account has a limit. So now, overall speaking, you know, there are only couple of hundreds of access only available. For example, 1,000 or 2,000. They can expand it, but you know, it's not cheap. It's quite expensive. It comes from UK. You have to pay for it. But for the student, of course, every institute, this Turnitin, they make it for student, of course. This Turnitin, it's not actually to find out what mistake that you do. This Turnitin software is actually to teach you how to do proper writing, how to prevent plagiarism. So now, as I told you, if you already are good at it, if your body and soul is good, you are safe and secure, you don't need any MRI scan, you don't need any blood pressure checking, you don't need any diabetes checking, right? So still, if you want to make sure, yes, still you can use it. If you want to be, good, if you want to be precautious, then I think it is okay to check your paper in Turnitin. But the access should be given, as I told you, two ways. Number one, the university, the institute will give you direct access. Number two, you can get access from your supervisor. Remember this is the part. The second part is actually applies to all of us, especially here, because most of us, I think most of us, we are students here in this forum. What we need to do, we need to get access from our lecturers, from our supervisors, from our admin staff. Yeah. So what you need actually two things. You remember this. If you have these two things with you, you can create your own account. What you need, number one, class ID. So now when as an instructor, when I create a class, and then I will also create a password, what I call enrollment password. So don't worry, it is not my password. We are not going to share our password to anybody. Nobody should share anybody's password. This is what we called enrollment password. So this is also sometimes problem. People go and ask the lecturers, can you give me your password? This is the wrong misunderstanding. Remember, sometimes student misunderstood this, and then they go to lecturer and they said, sir, can you give me your username and password? Which means they are asking their original username, which was given by the university. And then they want to use the username of the lecturer and the password of the lecturer to go in. When you use the university's given username and password, you are actually using the Turnitin as an instructor. You are not supposed to use an instructor. You are supposed to use as a student. So now let me be very clear with you. You have to find the Turnitin software, whoever have it, your lecturer, supervisor, your whoever, or maybe your friend. You ask from him or from her two things. Number one, class ID. All right. Ask class ID. Number two, enrollment password. I also see someone ask, can I buy Turnitin from Shopee and use? Is that okay? I'm not so sure about it because I don't know whether they are really selling. I don't know. Maybe they want to give you an access for sometimes. Maybe they want to make money out of it. So better you don't, because that's not the right way to. Because whatever that you put inside, they can take your papers, because they are not your lecturers. They are not your instructors. So you put something there and they can copy from your work and they can publish. And later you cannot complain. Yeah. So you have to be very careful. That's why this software is actually made for supervisors and students. You have to get your relationship with your supervisor must be good, and you have to get it right from your supervisor or from anyone from your department. Yeah. So you need to get the class ID. When the lecturer create a class, he has to create a class in order to give you access. Once I create a class, I will see the class ID, and then I will create my own password for that class. For example, I will make it very simple for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I won't make because that's not my password. It has to be very simple password. So I will make a simple. So you need to get these two things. Once you get these two things, then I will show you how you will get your access to Turnitin. All right. Okay. So, but right now you remember these two things, class ID and enrollment password. And this is not the supervisor's username and password. So please do not confuse. All right. Okay. Okay, once you see now you want to create your account. You are in the position of creating your account. You can right now, you can also open your computer. You can go to your Chrome or Explorer. Just open turnitin.com. All right, you can do that now while you are watching me. You can do it right now. Go there, click on create account. Click on create account next to the login button, because there's a login, next there's a create account. Don't click on login, because login for those who already have account. All right, so you need to click create account. You will be directly linked to the create user profile. Of course, there are many languages including Arabic. Yeah, so you choose this English and then go to create account. That's step number one. Step number two. Step number two, when you see this page, you have to write your email address. Sorry, don't do that. Before that, click on student. Before you do this email address, don't do email address, just go to student, click on student, click on student, then you will see this page. Yes. Once you click on student, you will see this page. This is number 3, class ID number and class enrollment. The one I told you last time, you should have the class ID, class enrollment password. You have to write here class ID, enrollment password, and then you need to also give some information because you are creating an account. I think you are familiar with creating account in so many other platforms. Usually they will ask you some secret questions. They just want to make sure you are there. They just want to verify it is you. Sometimes even robot also can do this, right? So they just want to make sure you are human. So just choose whatever the question they ask. And then finally you go and you click agree. Yeah, I agree. Review the users and then agree. After you click agree, then you need to click now login to Turnitin. Yes, once you log into Turnitin, once you log into Turnitin, you will see this page as your home page. For example, whoever the university, let's say if it's IIUM, you will see here Islamic University Malaysia. If it is from Bangladesh, if it is from other countries, yes, they will see your institute name. You will see your supervisor name here. This is very important. You will see your supervisor's name here. Yeah. Your thesis, we made it thesis because we are using it for the purpose of thesis, right? That's why we made it thesis. It could be any other classes. For example, you are a master's student and right now you are not doing your thesis. You are actually doing your assessment. So you are taking some subject, for example, Econ 7010, for example, Econ 7010. So it will be appear Econ 7010 and you have to submit your assignment in that class. So for multiple usages, you can use this, not necessarily only for thesis. Remember, in some countries, they use this software for elementary and primary school. Even for the primary school and secondary school, they use this. One of the country which use a lot is actually China. China using a lot because of, so many issues. So now, yes, it could be used in so many other purposes, not necessarily only for thesis, right? That's step number 9. Then your class portfolio. Here, once you click on here, when you click thesis, you need to click on this thesis. Yeah, this is your class name. Yeah, you click on the class name, then you will see this. This is where you have to submit your work. Your supervisor might give you time, for example, start from this date, due date, and then post date. So within this time, you have to submit your assignment, which means submit your thesis in this particular page. There will be a button, upload. Then you will submit. The upload button is actually over here. It must be over here, but it has been cut. Yeah, the upload button will be here. You just click upload and then you choose your file from your computer. Then you will be doing it. What do you want? Okay, go. Okay, sorry. So Yes, it's here. In the next page, you can see upload and then submit. Click submit, then, you will choose your file, and then to submit a paper, click on the submit button next to the paper assignment. The paper submission page will be displayed. Okay, so now when you click the submit button, there are multiple options for you to submit. Not necessary that you can only upload the Word file. You can also upload PDF. You can also upload some other text, like as you can see on your left side, doc version, docx, Corel Word Perfect, HTML, Adobe Postgres, TXT, RTF, PDF. Not only that, you can also do cut and paste. What I mean by cut and paste, you open your Word file, and then you go there and then you do Control A, which means you select all. Control A, select all, Control C, copy. And then come here, you see this, the last box, cut and paste your paper. You go here and then you click, right click, and then click paste, or Control V, Control V. Then you can also do the control paste. You can choose the option here. You want to do cut and paste, or you want to do single upload, or you want to do multiple upload. It is all up to you, right? But make sure, the most important thing, you need to write your name. Don't write just XX, YY, ZZ, ABCD, right? Make sure that you write your name. Also, this last one that I show you was cut and paste option. Now you choose single file upload. If you want to upload your Word format, you choose single file upload, and then you write your first name, the last name. Also write your submission title. What is the title of it? Yeah. So, and then you choose from the computer. You want to choose from the Dropbox. So many options. You have to choose from the Google Drive. Yes. Click upload. Then before you confirm, they will show you the preview of your paper. Just make sure this is the right paper that I'm submitting. Am I submitting the right paper? Because sometimes, we will be submitting the earlier version. It happens to all of us. Yeah. I think Brother Muhibullah knows this. We always submit. Sometimes we have editions. We always edit, like 2 or 3 times a week. We always edit. New versions are coming. So we need to make sure that I am uploading the new and the latest version. Yeah. And then I click the button confirm button. Then it says, congratulations, your submission is complete. This is your digital receipt. Now you need to click return to assignment list. Now you will come back to this after maybe, like, it might take sometimes according to your size. If you are submitting like 300 pages of your thesis, you should wait until 5 to 10 minutes. If it is only 2-3 pages, it will maybe 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds, it will be ready, just like that. Then after you click submit, after you come back, then you will see here the number, which is similarity. Look here, similarity. How much is the number? 43%. Please note the point. Turnitin cannot authentically or officially tell you that you have plagiarized. They have no right to tell you have plagiarized. They will only tell similarity. Because this is a human-made system. This is not human. Do you think Turnitin is human? Turnitin is not human. It's just a system, machine. The machine cannot tell you that you have plagiarized. That's why they use the word similarity, which means the Turnitin software telling you that there is a 43% of your content is available online, exactly the same way that you wrote. So now you get that information, and then if you want to view your report, you will click on view, because you want to know from where actually you are getting this 43%. Now you are getting to know what are the passages that you need to rewrite You need to paraphrase. What are the passages that actually, you need to put together? I mean, you need to cite, you need to do the acknowledgement. So you will learn from this after you weave the report, right? If not available means, the similarity column, then originality report are not available in this assignment, meaning to say that sometimes you may see not available. That's because your supervisor, your lecturer didn't want you to see the report. But most probably they will let you see the report. If myself, I always let my students see the report because I want them to learn the mistake and then I want them to, resubmit. So if you see not available, maybe the supervisor want to see first and then he will give you some instruction. It is up to but by default, you will see the report unless the supervisor made some changes in the optional setting. All right. Okay, now you want to download and you want to see the report. All you have to do, as you see here in the previous one, you see the button download, click download, you will see the report. After you see the report, you also will be given chance to resubmit. You do the alteration, you do the changes, make sure that you change most of it. Don't think that sometimes I have seen students, they said, sir, I have changed, but at the first I saw it was 40%. After I work hard and I change, now it says 35%. It only reduced only 5%. What should I do? Yes, that's because you didn't change properly. That's what I said. Paraphrasing means breaking the sentences, not changing the synonyms. This is very important to understand. Paraphrasing is not alternating or it's not changing the alternative synonyms. It's breaking the sentence. You need to summarize it. You need to rephrase it. Then only the number will reduce. Okay, this is how you will see the report. You already downloaded the report. Now you want to see the report. You will see this is how the report is going to look like. On your right side, you will see the percentage. For example, match overview. You can see 4% of your thesis came from this internet source. Another 4% from the number 2, 3% from number 3, another 3% from number 4. Right? You will see that لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها. If you know Arabic, what I'm saying, you know Arabic, which means that it is not going to let anything go. It will comprehensively going to cover everything, even small number of similarity, it will find out. It will find out. Now you can see the paper, you will see your paper, those things that you see is beautifully highlighted, which means, for example, in this case, as you see the screen, number 3 has been highlighted. Maybe the word listed. Can you see, if you can see what I'm saying? Do you see the word listed is not highlighted? I'm talking about the paper text. Yeah, just follow my cursor. Follow my cursor. Number 3. Yeah. So this number 3 coming from this number 3. As you can see, it's purple. It is purple because number 3 also purple. It comes from lawlib.byu.edu. Also follow my cursor, you will see the word listed is not highlighted. That is because in original, it is not the word listed, maybe something else. But the remaining, the words are all same. So when you see, which means that it looks like, you copied from directly from there. So this is how it is going to show you the matches and you will understand the differences and you will make the differences, and this is how you will download and print the PDF. If you want to print the PDF, you can download and then print the PDF. So this is how you will see the report. This is 43% overall. Out of 43% overall, 38% is from internet sources. 38 from internet sources. 8% from publications. Publications means what? Publications is actually like journals, the periodicals. which is actually, some of them even paid. Internet sources, actually, it is free. Anyone can access to internet sources. Publications are not free. Sometimes it is in the form of PDF. Sometimes you need to download PDF and then you need to see from there. Sometimes you can't even download, you have to pay for it. So it goes through all. 8% publications, 24% student papers. So this is the most important part you need to understand. You know why? These student papers mean the papers that they have submitted in Turnitin. Also, they have submitted in other universities. For example, Econs 101, we are not only the people in the world teaching Econ 101. Almost every faculty, every university in the world are teaching the same subject. So now they are also submitting, because everybody using Turnitin, that's why it is quite popular. So now if someone copied from other student, for example, it happens to my class, sometime I give assignment, some very smart student, they copy from the senior students. They copy from seniors. So what to do? Turnitin will show if they copy from seniors. Yeah. So now you can see, yes, 43, 38 from internet, 8 publication, 24 student papers. Yeah. And then 53. Yes, this is actually grading system. This is something actually what your supervisors will do, but most probably for thesis, they don't do this. I do this for my students' assignment. When I give them the term papers for my classes, I ask them to submit here and then I grade and they will know the grade. But for you, if you are actually, you are the supervisee, and most probably your supervisor won't give you grade for it, but he will give you some comments. But the rubric is there. It is possible to give you grade as well, right? I think I covered everything. It's here, but let us see your questions. Let me see what I can get. There are some questions are here.
Okay, before you go to those questions, I just one short one.
Yes, please,
You didn't
Dr.
highlight.
Hayatullah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. You didn't highlight. Did you highlight? Because I went for a break. I just had my breakfast. That's why I took so long. I just want to ask, what is the acceptable percentage of what do you call it, copying? Is it
Okay.
24, 30, or something
Yes,
like that?
correct. I think, yes, Dr. Hayatullah. I think what we do in UIA, actually for master students, we accept 24% of Turnitin report, similarity report, but we don't call it, we accept 24% of plagiarism. We don't do that. What we say, it was actually, I also explained to this in between, because somebody asked me the questions that, sometimes some words are inevitable. For example, yeah, research background, statement of problem, research questions, research objectives, literature review. These are the words, there is no way that you can change it. So these are the words definitely should be there, right? Definitely it should be there. You cannot actually take it out. So for that reason, some institutes are actually allowing some percentage of similarity. We don't call it plagiarism, because plagiarism, of course, it is haram, even it is 1%. I mean, we for example, I know if I have to answer to Dr. Hayatullah, I will say even qatratul khamr huwa aidan haram. Even one drop of wine, it is still haram, even it is a small drop. So what I'm trying is actually to tell, of course, plagiarism is not allowed. But the similarity is allowed for 24% is because these are inevitable, because it is inevitable to, for example, I wrote a thesis, I have to mention the name of the university, the titles and everything, right? So that's the reason why they approve 24%. It doesn't mean that in every chapter I can copy 24% from internet and then only 76% from me. Not necessary. It won't work in that way. By the way, but thank you for the question, Dr. Hayatullah.
Okay, one more. With
Yes,
regard
please.
to the how in the setting up, how many sentence? I mean, how many words we have to specify? What is the acceptable level of words? I
Again,
mean, we
again,
see a sentence, to what extent, I mean, should have the same word, I mean, when it go
yes.
beyond that limit, so it will be considered plagiarism. So is there any limit for that one as well?
Yes, Dr. Hayatullah. What I can tell you, actually, this is again, it is depends on your department, the faculty, how you want to deal with it. Usually, they go for 20 words or 30 words. For example, there is a setting in Turnitin. If you say from one source, if you get more than 30 words, then only you start counting. You can tell that. If you have a student who copied who copied less than 30 words, from one source, then the Turnitin will not count it as a similarity,
Okay.
right? But again, what I would like to tell you, this is actually just a practical exercise for student, for them to do this. But most important thing is, as a lecturer, what we need to do, we should not go with the number. As a lecturer, Dr. Hayatullah, we should not go with the number. We have to look for the content, exactly how the writing, what is the way of writing of the student, how they write, whether they paraphrase, they rephrase, whether they gave the after all, we are the supervisors. I think we need to also give them the comment based on that. So this Turnitin is only going to assist you to come to a decision. It's not going to give you concrete result. You are only going to use it as a tool. It is going to assist you, but it's not going to give you any result. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. So I have some questions in chat box as well. All right. Yes, University Authority provide email ID and password. I did not create any account since I checked my account. Yeah, okay, yes. If you haven't created any account, your documents are safe, but make sure that you use the University Authority account, yeah, not some third-party account. And then the questions from Tasmania, can we exclude some keywords references when we check any article by Turnitin? Can we exclude sometime the name of institution, name of journal also reported? Yes, correct. This is what I was giving you just now, the answer to Dr. Hayatullah. Yes, it is inevitable. You cannot exclude the words. That's the reason why, we should not only go with that result. Any supervisor, any lecturer should go through the entire paper. And as a teacher, we have to look entire paper and read page by page, and then only to come to a conclusion whether the student have plagiarized or not, right? But the number, that's the reason why some of them, they even accept 20%, some of them even accept 30%, depending on the nature of the work, not necessary. Let's say someone do something in Quran and Sunnah, and if we bring mostly the quoted materials, then it is a different case. Someone in the law faculty, for example, there's now Sheikh Sabit was asking question, because they have to bring so many act and legislation, so it's a different scenario. That's why it is up to the supervisor. Next question, Mahin.
Doctor,
next, yes.
Doctor, sorry for interruption. If I don't mistake that this question might be similar to like you already discussed.
Yeah.
Like problem statement, we use some word or some word we cannot paraphrase. So is it like this that we can remove that word before Turnitin?
That's not the right way of.
Yeah.
I mean,
the question is related to this.
Okay. That's a real question. I tell you what. Thank you for bringing this. I know that the question is not from you, but it is possible someone might do this. Am I right? You see, someone might do this. Someone might play with this. I also have seen some videos in YouTube. People want to play with Turnitin. I tell you what, please don't follow those tricks. Definitely, if the university come to know, they will revoke your graduation. That's why the thing, you have to be very careful, because whatever that the final submission that you are making, it has to be as it is, as you are submitting to your supervisor. Yeah, so we cannot put any tricks, take the word out and then submit, and then that's why I said every supervisor should not only see the number. If only he see the number and then he decide that you have plagiarized, I'm sorry to say, he is not the right supervisor. He is not the right supervisor. You should change the supervisor. So he has to go through the report, the complete report. He has to see what kind of writing you have done, and then decide whether you have problem in writing or not. Yeah. Okay, the text is written in black color. Yes, the black color one, Mahin, it's not actually plagiarized. It is actually original. Black means original. Yeah. Mahfuza, what percentage of similarity for a paper usually? Okay, I told you this one. According to the journals, most probably they don't want to go more than 20%. They want to be less than 20. Myself, I also part of a journal, associate editor. I'm also associate editor of the. I always return to my writers. I tell, please go back and rewrite and then submit back. I don't want to see that more than 20%. And as I told you, I will see the paper. I will see the paper. I will go through the paper. If there is something, then okay. If there is some problem in the writing, then I will ask them to go back. Okay, that's me now.
Doctor, sorry.
Yes, yes.
I want to add one sentence for this question.
Yeah.
Like as we don't know, for some journals, they don't mention that how many percentage they will accept.
Yeah.
So it's better, for my suggestion, from my understanding, that if we can submit below 10%, there might be mostly possibility not to reject for the similarity report.
You are right. Because if it is less than 10%, I think it's very good.
Yeah.
I tell you, it is impossible to make zero. It is impossible. Don't trust anyone if someone comes with zero, right? So, but less than 10% is very good. It's a very good number, by the way. I will accept it if it is less than 10. Okay, this is from Tasmina. Can we exclude some keywords? I think we answered this, right? Okay, thanks. Okay. Ataur Rahman, different university uses different plagiarism instruments. So all instruments same in nature. Yes, yes, correct. They have differences according to their, discipline. But of course, we have to go with our university. Okay, any other questions directly you want to ask?
One question from FB, from the viewer on FB.
Yes.
If we have published some of the pages of our thesis by any article, meaning it is already published, so how it is showed us and how to justify that? I think he published the article before completion of the PhD thesis.
Yes, yes. See, this is where I will say the supervisor should not go with only the number. He has to see, because the student is capable of submitting. So what is the issue? And then it is a requirement from the university that you should submit, you should publish a paper, right? Am I right? And then that's why, remember, if you remember one thing I told you, when you submit any paper, make sure that your name is there. Remember I told you, don't put XX, don't put YY, don't put AA. Try to write your name when you are submitting a paper. Now, when you submit your thesis, definitely the first page, in the first page, you will see your name. So you will see the title of the thesis and then your name. Am I right? Now, let me give you a very good example here. Okay, let me go here. Okay, good, very good. See, now you will see the report like this, yeah, like I show you in the picture. You will see on your left side of the report, you will see your thesis, your title is there, your name is there. On your right side, you will see the first one, you will see your own publication paper. It is very reasonable for anyone to understand, okay, it is the same author, so what's the problem? So now your name and the first source is actually, which is you, and it is published under your name. So it will be very easy for your supervisor or for any institute to exclude. Now remember the point I say. They can exclude any source from your report, but you cannot exclude any source from your report. This is the difference between instructor account, student account. In the student account, you are not allowed to exclude any source. But as an instructor, if I agree, she is the one who actually published the paper and she is the same person who actually writing the thesis, what I will do, I will go to number 1 and then I will click this button and then I will exclude number 1. When I exclude number 1, the 43 will become 13 or maybe 15, right? So you don't have to worry about it. Okay, next.
We have Sister Nabila Islam. Sister Nabila, would you like to talk?
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. After suppose I check my Turnitin first time and the similarity percentage is higher. Can I refresh the document and check the Turnitin again?
Yes, you can do that. You know, there is one possibility that, you know, if your previous paper is already in the repository. What I mean by repository is a database. You know, Turnitin has 2 options. Number 1, Turnitin can save everything that's been uploaded. Turnitin can save it in their repository, in their database. So when you submit for the second time, it will show you that there is a similarity. There's a similarity available from this paper, which means that the paper that you have previously submitted. But it is quite simple and easy. Most of the time, the supervisors, the instructor will untick the repository. For example, myself, I always, when I give an exercise to my student, I will never save anything in the repository. So which means that every time my student submit, it will be a fresh copy. So which means that, let's say first time you saw 60% and you alter, you change everything, and then you work hard, you change you break the sentences and everything, and then you resubmit, it might go to 24 or 14. It is possible. Yes. Did I answer your question?
Any more questions?
Yes.
Yes, got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, doctor, like in maybe sometime, like if you're quoting from, let's say, some act about Islamic banking and finance, like in Malaysia here or any other place, and you include those, sometimes it show up. Do you need to paraphrase like an act, or you just make it in the quotation?
Okay, I think better if it is, you know, if you are talking about, you know, act or definitions, I think I would suggest you can still, you know, do the quotation mark. It is allowed. I'm not saying a quotation mark is not allowed. It is still allowed, you know. You can do, but the thing, there is a way to do it, right? So what you do, you do that block, make it, if it is more than 3 sentences, make sure that you separate it from your original paragraph and then make it different, because your reader should know that you copied this one from someone. Yeah, if it is less than 3 lines, you can keep it within the same paragraph, but make sure you use the quotation mark. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Musa, thank you. All right. Okay, I got one more question. How can instructors save papers in repository? Can you please show that option, or the papers automatically saved in repository? I think I can tell you, Sheikh Alauddin, instructor, when instructor create class, yeah, remember this, because right now I don't have access to that, I cannot show you, but I will tell you this. because this is only instructor can do. The student account cannot do. The instructor, which we have already given this to our instructor, but of course you can also tell this to your instructor, but in a polite way, yeah, in politely you can tell, because maybe they know, they understood, maybe they forgot. You will tell that, sir, please, you have to go to, when you create a class, there is a optional setting. When they create class, there is an optional setting. Go to optional setting and then scroll down, and there is an option called no repository. That's it. Very simple. When you create a class for you, when he is going to create a class for you, after creating class, he has to go to the optional setting and then scroll down and click no repository. That's it.
Sorry, I want to add some information with you.
Yeah.
As Alauddin is my classmate and he's
I see.
faculty member.
Okay.
So he's a public university teacher.
Yeah.
Maybe he himself is an instructor. So
Okay.
his question need more clarification, I think. So
Okay.
I can share some information about it.
Okay.
During opening a class or what you said, there is a setting option. So you go additional setting and check. There is one option that which repository you want to save. There is one option that no repository. There is an option that your university repository. So you can check if you want to submit it to the repository. Then you can just click on it, or you are also allowed to check that no repository. So there is setting. So I think once you can check again, you will get the option.
Okay, thank you, Muhibullah and Professor.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sheikh Muhibullah. I think I have one more question. How many word counts are allowed for Turnitin system? Because when we want to submit a paper, there are some options to exclude, such as references, quotations, and there is option to count words. So in that case, how many words we can put? See, I don't know whether are you asking as a instructor or Muhibullah, can you help me? Is this instructor question or student question?
Okay, just let me read it. How many word counts are allowed for Turnitin system? Because when we want to submit a paper, there are some options to exclude, such as references, quotation, and there is option to count words. So in that case, how many words we can put? So
okay, as a student, yeah, he replied, yes, he replied, this is NJP. Okay, he replied as a student. I think it is this question very relevant to instructor. That's why I ask you this question, because the instructor, this is what actually related what Dr. Hayatullah asked earlier. Yeah, we can actually tell Turnitin to exclude if it is less than, if it is less than 20 words or less than 30 words, it can be excluded. That's why your number will be very flexible, but you should tell your instructor regarding this. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? I think I have to ask Madam Moderator, if I have to extend.
Any more question? One last question before we end the session, because we have another session at 2:30, so that you can have, the participants can have ample time for lunch and Zuhur prayer. Any question? Similarity. There's another question. One last question, Doctor.
Okay.
Just to remind, just read your WhatsApp. I have something important for you.
Yes, I will forward to Madam Moderator. Okay. Thank you. Okay, similarity of up to how many words together considered as similarity in top journals? Okay, good. Again, similar questions. I tell you what, you need to understand in like this. When you are submitting a paper, when you are submitting a paper, there are multiple sources will come. Remember, if I have to, for example, put it myself, yeah, I don't do this, but still I put myself, I blame myself. Let's say I copy from some source. I might be thinking I copied from this source so that I will be expecting that source will be appeared in Turnitin. But wait for it. I will get surprised. When I run Turnitin, the source that I copy, it won't appear there. So many other sources will appear. So which means it is all interconnected. Yeah, maybe my source also will appear maybe somewhere, but most probably it is all still, it is all interrelated, interconnected, which means that the Turnitin will see only if you have certain words from one source, then only it will ignore. But remember, your combined and connected words have more than one source. Definitely, Turnitin will explore it, will count it. So that's why it is always better, I tell you, make sure break the sentence. What they call it in English? Break a leg, huh? Break a leg. Is it Sister Shakira? So like, you have to work hard. They will say break a leg. So, but doesn't mean you have to break somebody's leg. Yeah. What I'm trying to say here, break the sentence. So make sure that it is not similar to something. Unless if you want to keep the same sentence, very simple. Use the quoted materials. Use the quotation mark. So you are safe. Because anything comes within the quotation mark, Turnitin will ignore it. But not necessarily your supervisor will ignore it. If you have too much quoted material, your supervisor will count it. He will say, why so many quoted materials? Then you have to answer to him. Maybe you can escape from Turnitin. This is what they say. You can hide, but you cannot escape. All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I give back to moderator, Madam Shakira.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammad Aslam, for a wonderful session this morning up to afternoon. And just a gentle reminder to everyone, our session will begin at 2:30 after lunch break. And before we end the session, I would like to invite Dr. Rafia for a closing remark for this morning session. Please welcome Dr. Rafia.
Okay, Assalamualaikum to everyone. And at first, I want to express my thanks to Dr. Aslam Akbar for giving a very nice, and I think it is very detailed and which will be very useful and fruitful for the student. And also, our lecturer who actually sometimes we because of that this Turnitin, sometimes we don't know the detail. So I think Dr. Aslam today, he explained very, very detailed. So I think it will be very useful because also I think the student from their questions, and I think that they listen it very carefully, and they are very attentive student today because he explained very nicely. If sometimes the explanation is not very interesting or nicely, the student they cannot enjoy. But since there are many questions, that means the students or the participant here, they enjoy today's session. So afternoon we have another very interesting session. What topic, then Brother Muhibullah, in the afternoon? Is it Dr. Rulias?
Yeah, with Dr. Kulliyyah, and the title
NARARDL, right?
Yeah, title is the time series analysis with nonlinear ARDL approach.
Okay, so I'd like to invite all the participants to join that session also. So welcome everybody. And again, I'm giving my thanks to Dr. Aslam Akbar for his willingness to join this our workshop. I'm really thankful because when we approach all the speaker, like Dr. Aslam also, they just agreed without any hesitation. That means they're really willing to help the student, okay, voluntarily. So I hope that next time also again we can arrange this kind of workshop for the students. Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. So Sister Siarika, please again.
Thank you, Dr. Rafia. With that, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Dr. Aslam. Thank you to all participants for this morning session. With that, we end our session with Tasbih
Sister
Kifarah.
Shakira, hold on
Sorry,
for a
Dr.
while.
Ayatullah. Yes.
Yeah, Sister Shakira, I just want to give a piece of advice.
Yeah.
Being a student of International Islamic University, I'm so sorry. I maybe some people are very diplomatic. For me, it is, a piece of advice. It is kind of khair, so we always have to spread the khair. Here I can see some of the profile picture. One of them I think seems to be my student. I don't understand what is the rationale behind that. They put the profile picture, which is not, not putting what to say, the scarf. Is it so difficult? So being a student of International Islamic, we talk about the philosophy, about the Sajatra, this and that. Why it is not still not, they are not able to digest that one? So please remember that. That is everyone duty. We should not be shocked with your video. So much immersed in our, what you call the expertise, but these elements are very crucial to us. We have to remind each other. We have to, من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فبقلبه. Where is this? That's why I told you, I should, school Dr. Aslam as well, Never mind, he's my junior. That's why I WhatsApp him, Please remind him, because you are the one who are giving the lecture. So maybe your word will be able to go to their mind. If I say something, maybe who's this stranger, something like that. So that's why I WhatsApp him to mention this issue. It's very important. Thank you very much. Sorry, Mr. Chairperson and also Dr. Rafia, sorry for interruption.
Thank you, Dr. Hayatullah. Thank you for the reminder. I'm so blessed to listen to this. I hope that the sisters here take note on the advice from our senior lecturer here, Dr. Hayatullah. Please take it as a good advice for us to get more barakah while getting knowledge from all our lecturers. Okay, with that, let's end our session with Tasbih Kifarah and Surah Al-As. With that, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and see you again at 2:30.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.